Why do we keep checking our phones? Even when we know there's probably nothing new. Why does seeing a red notification badge or a flood of likes on a post feel so irresistible? And why do we keep filling online shopping carts, even when we had no intention of buying it in the first place? This is what I call digital dopamine. Platforms are designed to tap into the brain's reward systems, feeding us unpredictable, fast, and frictionless rewards that keep us scrolling, refreshing, and buying. It is not just habit, it's neuroscience. And once you understand how it works, you will see exactly why it is so hard to put the phone down. Hi, I'm Akanksha, and this is The Storyteller's Lens. Today, we are going to dig into the psychology and neuroscience behind digital dopamine. We'll explore how dopamine works in the brain, why social approval is so addictive, how notifications and algorithms act like slot machines, and why one-click checkouts and buy now, pay later play into the same loops. We'll also talk about what actually helps, the practical steps that both platforms and individuals can take to reduce compulsive use without losing the utility of digital life. So let's start with dopamine. Most people think dopamine is a simple pleasure chemical, but neuroscience shows that that's not quite right. Dopamine encodes something called reward prediction error, the difference between what you expected and what you actually got. When something surprises you, whether it's a new comment, a funny TikTok, or a flash sale, dopamine spikes. That surprise signal tells your brain, pay attention, learn from this. What's more, dopamine drives wanting more than it drives liking. That means we can keep checking apps long after the actual pleasure has folded. The craving persists even when the enjoyment doesn't. Now, add social approval into the mix, and the effect multiplies. Brain imaging studies show that getting likes and positive comments activates the same reward circuits as food or money. The effect is especially strong in adolescents, which is why teens are so sensitive to social media feedback. We also know that social proof spirals. In one massive field experiment, randomly boosting a post's early upvotes increased its final score by around 25%. In other words, once other people signal approval, the herd follows. And then there is reputation. Gains in status or recognition. When a post performs well compared to others, are deeply rewarding. This is why follower counts, like counters, and most people tip 20% messages are so powerful. They don't just reward us, they show us where we stand. This is where variable reinforcement comes in. Psychologists have long known that partial or variable rewards create the stickiest behaviors. Slot machines are the textbook example. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. The unpredictability keeps you hooked. Social feeds mimic the same schedule. Some scrolls are boring, others deliver the perfect hit of novelty. Notifications do the same thing. A buzz or badge might mean something exciting or nothing at all. That unpredictability keeps us checking. Research even shows that just hearing a phone buzz without looking degrades performance on attention tasks. Our brains are wired to treat notifications as urgent, and platforms know this. That's why they design streaks, gamified badges, and unpredictable alerts. Because those mechanics resist extinction, they keep the behavior alive. Now layer on the algorithm. Feeds on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook don't just show you content in order. They are powered by industrial scale recommendation systems. Deep learning models that predict what will keep you engaged for one more scroll, one more video, one more hour. TikTok's For You feed, for example, ranks every click by signals like watch time, replays, likes, and shares. YouTube's engine works like a multi-armed bandit, continuously testing what keeps you hooked. These are adaptive slot machines. Every refresh is a spin. Sometimes you get a jackpot, the perfect video, a viral post. Other times, nothing. That variable schedule keeps the dopamine flowing. It's not just social media. Commerce runs on digital dopamine too. In purchase studies, brain scans show a tug of war. The nucleus accumbens pushes us toward buying, while the insula signals the pain of paying. Platforms hack this balance by reducing friction. Paying with a credit card already feels easier than cash. Contactless and one click amplify that ease. And buy now, pay later goes further by separating the reward of buying from the pain of paying. That's why BNPL increases total spend, while loyalty progress bars makes us complete purchases, and why scarcity queues like 15 people bought this today nudge us to check out faster. It's the same loop: anticipation, reward, reduced friction. And this is not a small thing. Globally, people spend around 2.5 hours every day on social platforms. In the UK, Ofcom data shows that short-form video dominates teen usage. That's billion of daily dopamine loops. Attention harvested, engagement extended, and commerce nudged. But there are ways to reduce compulsive use, both for individuals and for product designers. Batch notifications are one of the simplest. Studies show that receiving alerts 3 times a day reduces stress and distraction without the total isolation of turning them off. Hide vanity metrics, where they do more harm than good. Number 3 is reintroduce friction in payments. Removing stored cards, disabling one click for risky purchases, or showing the full landed cost earlier can reduce compulsive spending. Number 4 is use intent prompts. Asking a user, "What are you here to do?" before opening an app shifts attention from endless scrolling to specific goals. And for businesses, the playbook is clear. Measure not just DAUs and MAUs, but compulsive loops. Add guardrails like content diversity, better defaults, and balanced incentives. So here's the takeaway. Digital dopamine is not just about chasing pleasure, it's about how our brains learn from surprise, novelty, and social approval. Platforms package those ingredients into variable, frictionless experiences that keep us hooked on likes, notifications, and purchases. For businesses, this explains why engagement loops are so powerful, but it also highlights the responsibility to design ethically, to use dopamine for delight and utility, not compulsion. And for individuals, it's a reminder: when you feel that pull to check or to buy, that's not weakness. That's your brain doing exactly what it's been trained to do. If you found this breakdown useful, subscribe for more deep dives into psychology, branding, and culture. And let me know in the comments, do you think digital dopamine helps us connect or just keeps us hooked? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.